A well-struck drive is a massive head start on any hole. A poorly struck drive, on the other hand, puts you behind the 8 ball even before you've walked away from the tee and walking towards your second shot. What I want to do today is have a look at some of the key elements that are going to help you hit the ball a lot straighter and a little bit further down the fairway. So when you're walking to your second shot, you're walking further than what you normally would, maybe further than your playing partners, which will make them wonder how you've become so good. So let's have a look at some of those key points that are going to help you to be able to do that. If you like the content in this video, then hit subscribe and you'll get more of the same sort of thing, which is going to help to elevate every aspect of your game. The first thing we want to have a look at is some of the ideas that are specific to driver and don't necessarily apply to every other club in the same way. When I set myself up, I'm going to set myself up with the ball position well forward. Now, ball position is going to occur sort of in a range. It's going to be somewhere between slightly inside my left heel and up to my big toe. What that will do is that'll put the center of my body further behind the ball. Now, I know this is a ridiculous example, but if I set my feet up, all I've done here is I've brought my right foot in. So if I set myself up here, my center line of my body is right where the ball is. Now, if I make any sort of swing, I'm likely to be hitting down on it. If I have my feet a little bit apart, now I'm shifting my center of mass a little bit to my right. The center of my body is a bit to the right. I widen my stance so that the distance between my heels is a bit wider than what I would normally have it for an iron shot. So it might be somewhere around about 15, maybe 16 inches. So it's going to be about maybe 40 centimeters between my heels. Both toes will be turned out a little bit. So as long as I've got the ball positioned forward, my body centers back, that's going to encourage me to be able to catch the ball with a very slight ascending blow. The second point about setup, and this is where a lot of players go wrong, my body is going to lean slightly away from the target with most shots. It's a little bit more with the driver, but what I see with a lot of players, and maybe this is because they're trying to hit the ball up in the air, is they'll set their body up way back here somewhere, so upper body's leaning a long, long way back. All that's going to do is cause me to hit the ground before I get to the ball. So my stance being wider, the ball position being further forward, means that my upper body will lean a little bit more. So I might have maybe a 10-degree lean away from the target, but that's really about all. The third thing with ball position or tee height is that when I'm setting myself up, as a general rule, I've got the top of the line of the driver, the top line of the driver is going to be about level with the equator of the ball or the center of the ball. Now, if it's slightly higher or lower than that as a matter of personal preference, no problem whatsoever. So they're the key elements for setup. The second point is I want to hit the ball from the center of the club face. Now, if I'm not doing that, it is going to have quite an influence on the direction that the shot goes, as well as the distance that it goes. If I hit the ball too high in the club face, it'll pop up in the air. If I hit it too low in the club face, it'll roll along the ground. If I hit it a little bit toe side of center, it will tend to draw or hook a little bit, and heel side of center, it'll tend to influence it to go to the right, to fade. Now, if I'm a long way away from the club face, the ball can pretty much go anywhere. So I've got a very strong focus on trying to hit the ball from the center of the club face. Now, one way of practicing that is with the little swings. If I can make small swings and just get the club to clip the top of the tee, I'll only be able to do this a couple of times before this tee comes out of the ground. But I'm just trying to get the sense of, can I get that club to clip the tee as it's going back and through? Looking from down the line, my tee's gone now, but I would do the same thing, and can I have the club moving on a fairly uniform path and get the club, the center of the club face, to meet the tee? And obviously when there's a ball there, to meet the center of the ball in the club face. Now, no one does this every time, but if my objective is to begin to build with small swings, my awareness of where the center of the club face is in relation to the ball, then it's going to be a lot easier to do it as my swing gets bigger. Point number 3 is swing path. This is absolutely critical. It does affect every shot, but much, much more with the driver. If my swing path goes back and down and across to my left, it's going to tend to curve the ball off to the right. If I do the opposite and swing the club out to the right, it'll tend to curve the ball to the left. Now the club's always moving on an orbital path. So what I'm trying to do is keep that orbital path fairly uniform back and through. If anything with the driver, because I'm catching the ball with a slight ascending blow, I want the path to be moving slightly to the right of the target as I strike it. If it goes through straight and I'm hitting the ball with an ascending blow, it will tend to cause the ball to fade a little bit. The vast majority of golfers, when they swing through, of course, their orbital path, their downswing path, which is moving on an orbit, will go across to the left, and then hence the majority slice. So what I'm going to do with small swings, now whether this is with a driver or with any other club, is I just allow the club, I'm picturing the angle that the club's sitting at to the ground at the moment, and when I'm moving the club back and through, I'm just allowing it to move back with very little force whatsoever, and track as close as I can get it to being parallel to that path as I go back and through. So just like what I mentioned about contacting the ball from the center of the club face, I'm doing it with very little force so that I've got a much better control over the motion. Now, when I go to play a shot, as I make the motion bigger, I'm looking to do the same thing. Then if I've got the path correct and I'm contacting the ball from the center of the club face, the ball will go where I want it to go. The final point I want to make, and this is one of the most critical, certainly in terms of keeping your balance and keeping power in the shot, and that is this idea of how pressure moves through your feet and how, more specifically, how the transfer of momentum works from your body to your arms to the club. If I play a shot, it will look like everything is accelerating. By everything, it means my body and my arms and the club are accelerating all the way through impact. It's an illusion. As I swing back and down, my arms and the club are constantly changing speeds. I'm starting off stationary. I get to about here in the backswing, and that's where my backswing peak speed is with my arms. My arms will slow and the momentum of the club will continue it. In the downswing, and this is the critical point, when I begin my downswing, I'm accelerating the club quite quickly to about here. And this is the key thing that's going to allow us to control the club, keep balance, and also develop some speed with the club head. So as I swing down, I'm moving to about here, and then I'm just going to allow the club to swing. If I hold the club in my fingertips, and all I'm going to do, so my fingertips aren't strong enough to really manipulate the club. All I can do is hold on with my thumb and forefinger of each hand. Now, as I turn my body away from the target and back towards the target, the motion looks very golf swing-like. So the club moved around my fingertips quite easily. As my fingertips got close to the ball, my arms slowed down and the club kept on going. So this is this idea of my arms slowing to allow the club head to gain speed, this idea of transfer of momentum. Now I want to do that when I'm holding the club normally. I won't have anything like the looseness that I would have with thumb and forefingers, but the principle will be the same. So now when I'm setting myself up, like I said, with this shot, it won't look like my arms are slowing as they approach impact, but they will be. And you can see when I created that swing there that there was no balance challenge for me. Had I tried to accelerate the movement, I would have been challenged with my balance. So with each of these ideas, particularly the ones that relate to the movement of the club and the idea of balance and this transfer of momentum, the final point I made there, the key is to begin to develop them slowly. So make small swings. Can you keep the club moving on the correct path with a small swing? Can you keep your balance with a small swing? Can you get this idea of transfer of momentum? All with small swings to begin with, and then gradually build up the range of the movement and the speed of the movement, and you'll find that not only will your drives go straighter, they'll go further as well.